fundamentally, they have violated the treaty that we signed with them. Therefore, it is ours. It was ours. 38,000 Americans died building it. The entire country of Panama
Yeah, but
was
it's not
created
yours
as an American
now.
client
Under
state.
international law, it's not yours now. And it's not for you to unilaterally say a treaty has been violated. I'm just asking you how you propose taking that back.
Kate Borsay here with me on Pina and Friends, Adam Bolton and Anna Mikhailova. We can welcome now to the programme Chris Licata, a Republican strategist. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Yeah, thank you for having me, John.
So,
it's good to be here.
It's lovely to have you with us, Chris. Thank you for making time. What are your reflections on that speech, which was, well, quite a speech?
Yeah, no, I think it was a very uplifting speech. I think he did a fantastic job delivering it. It's contrasting it to the 2017 speech. I mean, American Golden Age, it's very upbeat. And I can tell you, the city's upbeat. Not only is the city upbeat, but, driving up here from Tampa, the whole nation's upbeat. The whole nation's eager to get back on track.
Adam Bolton, my colleague here.
I just wonder where you think this leaves the rest of the world. Obviously, this was about inaugurating a president, a day of celebration for Americans with this very strong emphasis, although he didn't use the phrase this time, word of putting America first. As America enriches itself, as it uses its own resources, what should the rest of the world expect from the second Trump administration?
Well, I'm sure the second Trump administration is eager to engage with the rest of the world, but we're not going to subsidize the rest of the world. And that's I don't think that's a negative thing for the rest of the world if everyone's prepared to, Britain should be Britain first and France should be France first and America is going to be America first.
So there's no sense of international engagement or partnership?
That's not what I said, but...
Well, is there?
No, of course there's a sense of international partnership and engagement if done on a level footing and not at the expense of the American taxpayer.
And this business, you talk about the city. How do you see this External Revenue Service working? I don't think the American government has the power to collect tariffs and tax from foreigners, does it?
Yeah, the American federal government exclusively was funded by tariffs for the first 100 years of the American experiment.
Yeah, I understand that, but it wasn't from foreign countries because the people who pay tariffs are American consumers, right?
Well, that depends. I mean, ultimately, yes, the American consumer will end up paying more for a foreign product, but the tariff is collected at the duties, at the import and export fees.
But when he said foreign countries will enrich our citizens, it's just not going to happen. It's not the way economics works, is it?
That's to be seen. I'm sure, the Trump staff is far smarter than me, and I believe they have a plan, and they're going to move very quickly to put it in place.
Before we move on from this, Chris, there seems to be a fundamental, cross purposes here, misunderstanding. Call it what you will. It is a matter of fact that tariffs imposed on foreign goods coming into any market at the behest of the government of that country, they're paid by the company. In this case, American companies, which are importing those goods. That's what a tariff is. It's then for that company to decide to what extent those costs, those extra costs, are passed on to consumers. And the assumption is that is what will happen. In no event, under no circumstances, would a Chinese import be paid by Beijing.
And that's not necessarily what I'm suggesting. What I'm saying is that, hopefully, if you raise tariffs, hopefully it's actually protectionist to American companies, other American companies who make the widget here. So that's what you're trying to incentivize, to bring manufacturing back.
Yeah, well, that's the nature. That's the nature of protectionism. You hope that by putting up the cost of goods coming into the country, you may give a competitive advantage to domestically produced goods. But it's not a tax on a foreign country.
Well, that's semantics, I'm sure. And again, we learned this here in the first Trump administration. You can't drill down into what the president says. You have to look at what his administration does. What his administration did in the first term was fantastic, and he was great on economics, and he's going to be again.
Anna Mikhailova is here from the Mail on Sunday. Anna.
Well, I just find it fascinating that we could say that you can't drill down to what the president says when the whole focus of this sort of speech is meant to set out what the plan is for the next term. But I mean, I think there are two things happening here. There's the rhetoric, which is a statement of intent, which is Trump and the Republicans who support him and are in this ascendancy right now are more protectionist and were in the first term as well. But also, this is a tool of Donald Trump's toolkit. So he uses threats. He uses threats of tariffs to other countries to get his way on other things. He governs by chaos. He thrives on people trying to dissect and intellectualize what he says.
Chris.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in there because it's not, it's not chaos. It's not chaos and it's not threats. It's promises. It's not a threat. It's a promise. And it's look. We need this to be a fair deal. And if it's not going to be a fair deal, then I'm going to use the tools at my disposal to make it extremely unfair for you. Or we can play fairly, right?
It's not play fairly. It's pay by our rules. It's agree with us. It's not a question of fairness.
I mean, that again, that's an argument of semantics. That's how you want to frame it. If you want to frame it as Donald Trump's way or the highway, I don't believe that. I think it's the American way. And if you want to deal with the American government, you're going to have to play by some of our rules. We can negotiate in open dialogue and in fairness. But we have for the last century engaged with the world on their terms, not on ours.
I don't think that's how the rest of the world would see it. But I mean, let's just ask you about the Panama Canal, for example. Direct quote from the president: "We are taking it back." How are you taking it back?
Yeah, I've heard so many commentators talk about, oh, this is going to be a military incursion. Look, fundamentally, they have violated the treaty that we signed with them. Therefore, it is ours. It was ours. 38,000 Americans died building it. The entire country of Panama was
but it's not yours now. Under
state.
International law, it's not yours now. And it's not for you to unilaterally say a treaty has been violated. I'm just asking you how you propose taking that back.
It's not up to one of the treaty signers to say that, hey, this treaty is not it hasn't been violated. That's insanity.
Well, that's how international law works. You make an agreement. Two sides make an agreement, and they stick
when
by
two
it.
sides make a bilateral agreement and one side violates that agreement, the other side calls them out, then you have a conflict. That we're going to get to a peaceful resolution of that. We're going to figure it out with the Panamanian government. We have an excellent ambassador who's a friend of mine down in Miami. He's the new ambassador to Panama. He's going to strike a deal with the Panamanians that works for them, keeps the Chinese out, and maybe even leaves the Panamanians in control of the canal. Who knows? But the fact is that American national security is on the line, and the Monroe Doctrine states very clearly that we can't accept this kind of foreign, intervention in our national security.
Okay, Chris, I just want to say I'm grateful to you for joining us on the show and taking
absolutely.
these questions. I can see you there on what seems to be the Mall on the way up to the Capitol building, standing on the grass there, the snow around your feet, obviously going through, I hope not too much discomfort for the sake of this conversation.